Alright, we're coming in now with the RX6800XT, wrapping up my testing of GPUs here. And let's double check my settings, but I think I've got everything maxed out. We are at 4K, this is the RX6800XT. This is on the Ultra preset, and I have not used any FSR at this point. So this is the game completely maxed out, no FSR. How do we do? Looking to me like we're able to stay well over 60 FPS, even in combat, or like 100 FPS out of combat, depending on the exact scene. 80s, 70s. Alright, I'm going to attempt to actually aim my gun for a second rather than stare at my frame rate counter. But in a competitive game, even if you want the maximum visual experience, sometimes it's nice to turn down a few settings a little bit. So let's drop down to the high settings. Although honestly, I've got to say, I could play this just completely maxed out right there, at 4K. Completely fine. Nothing wrong with that. Alright, high settings though still look honestly almost the same. Performance isn't that much better either. It's a little bit better, looks like. Okay, yeah, still performing absolutely great. Let's go ahead and test out some other settings. So let's go down to medium. I've noticed on my other GPUs I tested that dropping to medium made a big difference. We're going to turn the textures up to high again though, because we have plenty of VRAM on this card. Oh yeah, we are now very high refresh rate experience. Game still looks great at medium settings with the high textures. Looks like we are crushing it with these settings. Now, rather than go down to low, well, maybe we'll test all the settings out. This is a graphics testing video. Let's actually test out what it looks like at low. So let's go down to low, although we're going to put the textures back up to high because there's no reason to turn them down if you have enough VRAM capacity. But yeah, it looks to me like we don't get that much more performance going down to low than we did at medium. So to me, medium seems to really be the sweet spot when it comes to performance in this game. Didn't realize that was an enemy for a second. Is that an enemy? No, that's a teammate. Good thing there's... Oh, that was an enemy. I was gonna say good thing there's no friendly fire. Anyway, I'm gonna go back up to medium, but now, although we want to keep the textures up, we're gonna actually try medium with FSR on the UltraQuality setting. So I think this is gonna give us crazy good frame rates and crazy good visuals. Now, on my screen, I can definitely tell a slight difference between FSR on and completely native 4K. One difference is just there's clearly a little bit of a sharpening pass. But honestly, in motion in a competitive game, look at the frame rate, guys. Look at the frame rate at 4K. Look at that enemy shooting us all in the back. I should probably shoot that guy. Is he still up there? They probably got him by now, right? Right? Yeah, somebody got him. I'm dead again. Okay, let's go ahead and try out the FSR going down to the quality setting, which is usually still pretty usable. Yeah, we are still pushing some really crazy frame rates. I should probably aim at the enemies sometimes rather than just staring at the frame rate counter the whole time. Yeah, looking like we can get some very good performance here using FSR and the medium settings. Okay, let's see how we do at 1440p. And again, we will double check we've got all the right settings. We're at 1440p. This is still the RX6800XT. We are at the Ultra preset, and I have FSR turned back off. Okay, looks like we are already approaching 200 frames per second with the settings maxed out and no FSR. This GPU is just a 1440p monster, to be honest. All right. Where are the enemies? There's one. What's he doing there? That's moving through the door. Wait, oh, F is open. I pressed E. Apparently that throws a grenade. Ah! Where's the enemies? Not a lot of enemies. All right, let's go ahead and drop the settings down to high. I don't feel like there's a huge difference on the performance between ultra and high. I feel like it's going down to medium where you really see the big changes. Ah! Alright, let's go ahead and drop this down to medium. I'm feeling, but keep the textures all the way up. Can't forget that. Yeah, now we're over 200 FPS. Let's see if it maintains that in combat. Still mostly a GPU limit. Remember, I'm on a very high-end CPU. So we might start to see the limits of the CPU, but it doesn't look like yet. Seems like we're still GPU limited. Alright, this guy keeps running in circles. There he is. Ah! Yeah, performance seems very, very good. Let's go ahead and test out the low settings, although with the textures up. Getting shot in the back. Alright, so to me, I think medium makes the most sense. And then as far as, performance goes, we'll keep the textures up, but then let's test out a little bit of FSR even here to see just how much we can push some crazy frame rates. Let's do the ultra quality setting. Well, there you go. Starting, I mean, it's still using most of the GPU. You can see the usage is still pretty high. Although, yeah, dropping down to 80 there for a second. So we're starting to run into the CPU limits up here, getting the upper 200 FPS range. So it's looking like these would be good settings if you had like a 240 hertz monitor. Although, do they even have those at 1440p? Because remember, this is 1440p. Alright. Well, let's push the FSR just a little bit harder. Definitely get the maximum performance out of the GPU and kind of run into probably more of a CPU limit here. Yeah, we are pushing the 300 frames per second range. Nobody needs this kind of performance, but hey, we can have it. We can certainly have it. Ah, how dare he turn around while I'm throwing a grenade. Alright guys, I think the conclusion here is the RX6800XT absolutely crushes this game at both 4K and 1440p, and if you want 300 frames per second, you can get it with some FSR.